Hello everyone, Andal Starsaber here. We're about to run the Heroic Sith Raid Phase 1. I'm going to go ahead and get my team set up. First of all, to know what the key component team members are, primarily you're going to be utilizing Resistance, so that will include your Raid Jedi training. That will include your C-3PO. That'll include your R2-D2 and BB-8. And now the choice will be either Resistance Trooper or Finn. In my case, I choose Resistance Trooper because for me, that's been a better, more consistent payoff, although you can get much higher numbers with Finn on that team. So now I'm going to go ahead and set up the mods. Important with setting up the mods is prioritizing what stats are going to be effective here. For Raid Jedi training, I like to get speed and potency. So what will give me that is I have several options available to me. Typically, what I want to do is I just want to bring up my loadouts on some of my mains. Like I have, for instance, Hermit Yoda, which has got a potency mod on it. If I put that on there, I will get 279 speed, which is pretty decent. And also, it will get me 70% potency. Another loadout I could also choose is going to be the one I use on my Bastila Shan. So looking at that one, what will happen, won't get as much speed, a little bit more potency and a little bit of survivability. For this run, I'm going to go ahead and choose the one I put on Hermit Yoda typically, because that I think gets the better speed and that should get a little more consistent results. Now, so once you got Raid Jedi training set up, next you want to consider is her partner in crime, BB-8. BB-8 is the obvious candidate for my Jedi Knight Revan mods. He's the one I want to be the fastest, and this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to put the best mods I have available to get him to be as fast as possible. Simple as that. Now, and one thing I consider doing in the future is getting Gear 12 Plus and getting him even faster. My R2-D2, I already got him pretty well set up for this. Not great, 247 speed, pretty good damage, pretty good special damage, but I'm going to go ahead and sign a better one. And that's one I have in my lineup, again under the Revan lead. I'm going to go ahead and put what I actually keep currently on Jedi Knight Anakin here, and that will actually boost up my offense pretty considerably. As you can see, I'm almost at 4,000 and 6,000. That's specifically because of R2's ability Number Crunch. That will transfer a lot of the offense that you have on R2 to the other team members. Now, once your R2 is set up, the next thing you want to do is get your C-3PO. C-3PO, I got him pretty well set up right now. I don't have a lot of speed. That's okay. That's not hugely important right now because what's really going to make the turn meter swing is going to be all of the exposes that you're getting here. But he has excellent potency, so he's going to really get far on his potency. And last but not least is, of course, the hard-hitting part of the team, which is going to be Resistance Trooper. For him, I choose a specific set that will give me a whole lot of offensive damage, and that's one that I designate specifically for Han Solo most of the time. Currently, I have it on Ahsoka Tano. So what's special about that, it's not very fast, as you can see, which isn't a big deal because those exposes will happen a lot and make Resistance Trooper go a lot. We have high crit damage, high crit chance, and very good damage and special damage. Pretty much the best mods I have for that specific setup. So I'm going to go ahead and should be ready to go now into phase 1. This is how I typically get those 7-8 million damage scores. We're going to start the battle, and you have to be prepared when you start these things. Sometimes you don't always get a good start, so you might have to back out and start over again. You just have to be patient. If Anders doesn't clear the whole phase in front of you, you can take several attempts at it to get a good score. But here we're going to see how things happen again against Nihilus here. So now with your speed, you should be going pretty quick here, and you try to get a lot of your if possible, you want to get BB-8 to do to knock things out early. So for R2 on your first turn, you want to go ahead and burn that. That's one good indicator whether you got a good run or not. You don't see any exposes on either of the two ads. I'm going to go ahead and back out right now. But when you do hit it right, you should be able to cast off Destiny very quickly. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and slow it down. It's good. It's good when the slowdown sticks. Okay, cast R2's burn. Okay, this is a much better run. You can see there's exposes on all three of the ads. That might get you a little more mileage as far as this goes. Always call BB-8 to assist when the opportunity. And as you can see, despite the slow speed, Resistance Trooper is already gone once. Now C-3PO, every time you go, you'll just want to try to call as much as possible and just keep the train rolling. Resistance Trooper goes again. Whenever you have a smoke screen, go ahead and toss it on BB-8 because he will help repair all of your he'll help heal up all your droid characters. So that's why I do it on him specifically. Now we got look at the turn meter here. If it's close to 30%, go ahead and just use it. Otherwise, if it's drastically under, you can just skip it because it's a guaranteed turn meter down. So now look for any areas where translation may have gotten pulled. In this case, BB-8 was attacked last. We'll go ahead and select him as far as a call to assist. And just keep things moving up and up. Despite the things that did go our way, we did not get our Illuminated Destiny off before the second turn. That's usually my breaker. That's how I usually know to start off and start again. So we're going to go ahead and back out, go in again. See if we can do the same basic pattern, but pull off the Illuminate Destiny before that second turn there. So same sequence of events. No slowdown this time, unfortunately, but sometimes that can still play in your favor, and we'll just watch and see how this plays out. Not so much yet. Call to assist. Go here. That's not good. He already got a cooldown off of Resistance Trooper, but sometimes C-3PO's ability can purge that anyway. In this case, it did not, but we'll go ahead and pop an ad a little bit. Not ideal, but maybe it'll play out anyway. We'll see how it plays out right now. Exposes in the RNG that's associated with them make a huge difference in how the outcome of a battle will go. We'll see what works and what doesn't this time. Okay, again, didn't reach that second turn before, or didn't pop Illuminated Destiny before that second turn. Gonna go ahead and pop back out, pop back in again. This is something you just got to get used to if you really want to get better scores. You want to know that your setup is right, and if it's right, then continue forward. But if it's not, go ahead and pop back out and take a shot. You'll probably have time to do it. In this case, okay, we got one expose, not ideal, but we'll play it out a little bit and see where it takes us. Didn't have any increased cooldowns there. That's better than the last time we ran. So now, if you're like this and you don't see an expose on one of the two ads, that's when I typically attack one of the ads and see if I can add an expose there. In this case, it did not, unfortunately. But that's only with Jedi training Rey on her basic. I don't do it for most other characters and their attacks. So keep on the heat. Oh, we got our Illuminated Destiny anyway, so things are turning out a little bit better. We'll go ahead and keep going with this. Once you get that Illuminated Destiny up, it adds some speed. You're able to get a lot of damage out at this point. So that's why I usually, if I don't get it before the second turn, that's when I usually decide, okay, this run's not going to go as well as I'd hoped. Now, it still may not go perfect. It's all a game of just watching things and making sure that you stay on top of the little details, like how far Nihilus's cooldown is on Annihilate, and how many debuffs you have up on your team, because one it could shift from 5 to 1 very quickly if you don't have, or if you have a lot of debuffs up. And fortunately, with Illuminated Destiny presence, you'll get a lot of cleanses as well. So now, as you can see, since we got it before that second turn, we've actually taken a lot of turns and gotten a lot of cooldown, or a lot of slowdowns from Jedi Training Raid, just compliments of having the Illuminated Destiny. So Nihilus didn't take a second turn until we're almost 2.5% damage down. So that's pretty impressive. That's probably more damage than some people are actually going to do this phase. So we're just going to keep up the trend. Now, it's going to go much higher than that, assuming I don't miss the little details like, okay, the Annihilate's coming and I time it wrong or something to that effect. But we're just going to keep working it and see what we can do here. Always keeping an eye on the Annihilate, see how many debuffs you got, all those types of things, and keep on trucking. Okay, so now very important, he now has AoE on cooldown. That can affect the cooldown of Annihilate drastically if Nihilus casts that when there's a lot of debuffs in the field. As per usual, you want to avoid using basic abilities to the extent possible. Nice thing about Rey Jedi Training is she pops up those foresights, and even if she gets debuffed half the time, it'll be okay. Now see, we have Resistance Trooper got a cooldown there, and Darth Nihilus's cooldown has been expired, so the next hit's going to be an Annihilate. So it's very important that we try to time it correctly so that we have the guard up when we need it. So now Nihilus doesn't have a lot of turn meter. I could pop the guard on R2. I'm going to go ahead and risk it and just put Smokescreen back on BB-8. Might not be the right idea. No, couldn't get the slowdown, unfortunately. So if R2 doesn't go again before Nihilus does, and keep in mind his speed increases as things go, but I'm okay. I'm going to go ahead and pop it now. I don't want to risk it that Nihilus does not hit a guarded target with the Annihilate, which more than likely will here. I did slow him down, and that's another risk I took. Nice thing about when you have the guard up is whatever character has the guards not going to gain a lot of turn meter, so there. Now R2 took the Annihilate as planned, and we can continue working the field. Now, another nice thing about Resistance Trooper, it also has a cleanse on that second ability. Just something to keep in mind. So when speed up gets brought up from the Illuminated Destiny and other things, speed down goes right back to counter it. So we're going to continue. Hit R2 again on the next turn, which is great because the guard's not down yet. And now we're going to go ahead and pop a Smokescreen on BB-8. So the next hits go on BB-8. And that will help heal up R2 as well. Illuminated Destiny in the field. You'll see a lot of these. And notice how we're almost 7% right now. This was going to be a decent run depending how far we get past Enrage, assuming I don't screw it up somewhere along the lines. But if you're getting somewhere in the vicinity of probably 15%, that's going to be a decent run. That's going to get you some good numbers. So now that's helping heal up our 2 again, which is good. That's something we need. Keep on working them. So now one thing that concerns me here, the AoE's coming off cooldown again. How many debuffs are in the field becomes very important at this point. Keep on working. And it's also whether or not R2 can take it directly after all that damage from the previous Annihilate Darth Nihilus used. Pop this back onto BB-8, so all the attacks go on BB-8. Pop the turn meter down a little bit more. Okay, gonna cast that AoE. R2 survived, which is fantastic, so we got a little bit longer before that AoE goes again. Keep on working. Now with the basic attack, go ahead and switch to one of the adds. R2, go ahead and set up burning. Good. That's a solid burn right there. Lots of exposes. That's what you want. Pop your Illuminated Destiny. Keep the cycle continuing. Keep going after. So you can see now we're almost up to 10% damage that we've done so far. Still going strong. Still about 6 cooldowns left. We're going to have a pretty solid run. I don't know how solid, but we'll see how the numbers go out at the end. Not too worried about it now at this point. This is going to be good enough for video showing display purposes, I think. So I see no reason to cut back and try again at this point. Just got to pay attention to little details like where the Annihilate is and so on and so forth. And that's going to be all we need to really worry about for this run. And now I'm just going to go ahead and continue, comment as we go along here. Keep popping the smoke screen on BB-8. Keep working the turn meter every chance you get. Call BB-8 to assist every chance you get. Just keep working the system. Always be also aware of where your guards are, because now we're getting close to the point where another Annihilate's going to come along soon. You have to decide what player you want to have take it. So that's going to be a tough call. Usually don't want Resistance Trooper specifically because Resistance Trooper also has it's all your damage and it relies completely on getting turn meter up. So now in this situation, I'm probably going to have to call BB-8, which is unfortunate because BB-8's also very turn meter dependent. And since BB-8's also very fast, I want to make sure I don't do it too soon or that guard will be gone before Nihilus gets to go. Just keep watching. Notice how we're almost 13% down. Okay, now we're coming down to the pike where we know the next turn is going to involve an Annihilate somewhere. So we got to have to plan this somewhere. I'm thinking it's time to put C-3PO under the hit. That seems like the best. Well, no, actually, I think I can pull off BB-8, and that should be okay. Yeah, we'll go ahead and work BB-8 in there. Go ahead and slow down just in case. Pop this. BB-8's not going to gain turn meter at this point other than just normal speed things. So it should play out okay. I'm not too worried about it. There we go. We got the Annihilate off and we're just going to continue this cycle. Okay, now perfect. Maybe get a slowdown, not quite. That's all right. Now notice how we're now almost 14% down. So we're doing pretty decent. Got 2 turns to enrage. Just continue the cycle until you get the final scores tallied. At this point, whatever we get at this point is pretty much gravy. May not be a great run, may be a great run. We'll have to see how things play out in the end. It's all going to come down to RNG, where the exposes come in, how many come in, and how many hits come from where. So we'll keep working the system. Slow down where you can get it. Call to assist to BB-8. Okay, we had the enrage pop off, so now we're not going to get a lot more numbers, but we're just going to have to pull whatever it is that we have left at this point. It's not going to be a lot more at this point, but we did knock off 15% by this point, so we have a pretty decent run. Should be, I think, 7.5 million at this point, if I'm not mistaken, maybe give or take. We'll find out when the numbers are tallied. And just keep working. Try to pop as much damage to Nihilus. Okay, BB-8's out of the fight, so that's going to control our ability to control this fight quite a bit, because that was where a lot of your turn meter comes from right there. So maybe if I'm lucky, Nihilus won't hit C-3PO, and C-3PO will escape the fight beforehand. Not so much. I should have thought about putting Foresight up there. Not the end of the world. This means I won't be able to use C-3PO again. And that's it. So we have our attempt over. As you can see here, about 7.3. Not my best run by any means, but it could be worse too. So that's an idea of how this whole system works. Anyone has any questions, please go ahead and post them in line or in Discord. And that's all I have for Phase 1 and Jedi Training Ray. We'll see you next time on the next video.